Welcome to this 27th session of Ergonomics for Beginners Industrial Design Perspective. Within this module number 5, that is behavior and perception, today's the last session of this module, that is class number 27th, human error and risk perception. So, whatever we have discussed in last class on cognitive aspects and mental workload, there we have discussed the design features must conform the positiveness to motivate to use and appreciate the design. Then the consciousness, attention and alertness, their relationships and special attention to that. The detection easiness of encoded information in design that facilitates decision making, issues relevant to trust building, figure ground segregation, is how we detect an object in a larger background. We also mentioned that the whole is more important than the sum of the parts. Means design should appear with a holistic, functional and trustworthy appearance. Grouping of components principles for easy understanding, principles of connectedness, information processing and appropriate usage of illusion in conveying desired information. We have discussed this, and finally, we mentioned that our role to use the above human information, how best to use in design activity. So, this is our main importance area or aspects to look into. So, with this, the today's session within this cognitive ergonomics area, that is class number 27, human error and risk perception. Specifically, we will discuss the relevant issues in this. Relevant issues means some principles, some aspects that is necessary while conceiving any design idea. The optimization of safety features and psychophysical space requirement and feeling, and thereby adding efficiency and reliability, this is the most important. Now, in this session we will discuss some of the issues that is very relevant to design practice. Now, the core idea of problem solving is to reduce complexity by a hierarchical top down decomposition of design problem from the abstract or general to the concrete or specific. The strategy is from the most important to the less important, or from the main problems to the sub problems that we need to follow. Such strategies and procedures should not necessarily be pursued in a strict linear fashion. That also we must remember when we decide on some design elements and their linkages. So, it is therefore important for a plan of approach to include iteration, that is doing or saying again, reiteration, the repetition of phrases or steps with those of little importance being passed over rapidly or even skipped. Now, if we consider all these aspects, then how the information design encompasses. The information design encompasses the design of both, that is the physical and cognitive components of the interface, and it includes the design and layout of controls and displays, information content and information representation. Now, the cognitive components refer to the information processing aspects of the interface. As for example, it can be said that the information content and information layout, as machines have become more intelligent, much of the focus of interface design has been on the cognitive aspects of the interface. Means the operator or the user, whatever input they are giving to that equipment or the machine, how machine acts on that intelligently and gives the feedback to the person, and that cycle, if it continues in a harmonious way, then the task will be performed nicely and the interface between the human capabilities and the machine, it will have good match. Issues of concern. In this aspect, there are some issues that concerns this. It include that determination of the optimal level of machine support. How much in a task machine should give its support. Identification of the type of information users need to operate upon that. How much information users need. Determination of how this information should be presented, so that it is easier to understand. Identification of methodologies to analyze work domains and the cognitive activities. So, these are the issues that really concerns in a design decision. Now, it is said that today's design practice, beyond usability, product design demands pleasurability, and also to achieve this goal, fundamentals of ergonomics are to be employed. Now, what are the fundamentals, and what are the links with the usability aspects? Let us see this. The usability issues have played an increasingly significant role in product design over recent years. Indeed, many manufacturers now see product usability as central to commercial successes. Whilst customers may once have regarded difficulty of use as the price to pay for technical wizardry, attitudes have changed. Usability is now a major competitive issue and is viewed as a key indicator of product quality. Again, it can be said that usability interaction design, experience design is a hot issue at this moment. All the technology proves difficult for us to control. The consequence may range from mild annoyance to serious injury or even death. Usability aspect is about giving control back to the user, producing useful, pleasurable, safe and helpful products that will enhance the quality of our lives. So, these are the basic assumptions of usability. Now, what are the components of usability? When we talk about usability, the components are that experienced user and inexperienced user. So, when a product is encountered by a experienced user and an inexperienced user, the interaction is not the same. So, there are some specific terms are used while discussing these aspects. These are like gaussability. Gaussability is that the effectiveness, efficiency and satisfaction with which specified users can complete specified tasks with a particular product for the first time. This is the guessability. Now, what is the learnability? The learnability issues are that learnability concern with the cost of the user in reaching some competent level of performance with a task, where the user is supposed to self-taught with the product. Less training time. The task method is easily memorable. After first completion, the product is highly learnable. It is considered. So, guessability and learnability are some issues that we need to keep in our mind. The effectiveness, efficiency and satisfaction with which specified users can achieve a competent level of performance on specified tasks with a product, having already completed those tasks once previously. Now, the third point is that the experienced user performance, that is EUP, experienced users performance. The effectiveness, efficiency and satisfaction with which specified experienced users can achieve specified task with a particular product. It is more important where comparatively little pressure to learn quickly, but where it is important that once product operation has been learned, users then perform at a higher level. So, these issues are the experienced users performance level. As for example, it can be said that driving a car or using a software. Driving a car day by day, or when your use frequency is increased, gradually your learning gets perfection. So, similarly, for you while using a software also. So, what are the issues, what are the aspects that give you these facilities? With regular use, how we can reduce this relearning time? Number 4 is that the system potential. What the system potential means? The optimum level of effectiveness, efficiency and satisfaction with which it would be possible to complete specified task with a product or a system. The maximum level of performance that would be theoretically possible with a product. This is the system potential. It is the upper limit of EUP, that is experienced users performance. Now, what is the reusability? Reusability is that the effectiveness, efficiency and satisfaction with which specified users can achieve specified tasks with a particular product after a comparatively long period away from these tasks. It refers to the possible decrement in performance after the user has not used the product for a comparatively long period of time. What would be the design features that can give me cues so that after a long time not using that product, still I can relearn how to use that thing. So, what are the specific elements that can give me these facilities? If we can apply it properly, then the design would be highly accepted. Means once I learnt it, after certain period of not using, again I can use it with full confidence. The learnability and experienced user performance components of usability assume that the user is using a product for a particular task fairly regularly. With a gap in use, expected user's performance might now be said to be a reflection of the system's reusability. Once learning how to use the product, say as for example, a VCR, all the switches, indicators and etcetera, may be forgotten to a certain degree in time, but riding a bicycle is a skill that according to many is never lost once learned. So, some of the issues that physically learned that people may retain for longer time, but where the some learning itself is difficult, to retain that learning in mind is also difficult. So, how we can nicely use these aspects in design, so that this relearning would be easier, then only the product will be highly accepted, will be pleasurable then to use it. Now, the important aspects of usability. Now, usability also differs if it is a work related product or a leisure related product. Like with work related products, it may be effectiveness and efficiency. With a leisure products, the satisfaction aspects may be the priority. In case of force use with a compulsion, like employer's point of view, effectiveness and efficiency of least important. Means there is a compulsion, you have to work on that context, you have to use that design. So, there the system effectiveness and efficiency is least important, because the viewpoint is from employers, but as an employee point of view or user's point of view, if it is a work related products, effectiveness and efficiency should get priority. Now, the preference and acceptance of a design, it depends on usability and pleasurability, that is the satisfaction issues. Now, if we see the usability as a definition kind of thing or as an explanation, we can say by ISO, the usability is the effectiveness, efficiency and satisfaction with which specified users can achieve specified goals in particular environment. The document is ISO DIS 9241 to 11. It is not a simple property of a product in isolation. It is a property of interaction between the product, a user and the task or set of tasks that he or she is trying to complete. The main objective of this usability can be measured as a effectiveness and efficiency that we will discuss next slides. Now, while doing these things, that SWOT analysis is also necessary. That is, if there is a product, while taking any concept of that, the strength, weakness, opportunity and threat, these issues are to be analyzed on that theme and then make a design decision. Now, when we are talking the measure of usability, that is effectiveness and efficiency, now let us see what is the effectiveness. The effectiveness, the extent to which a goal or task is achieved, this is the effectiveness. Now, if we see the task completion point of view, the single task, as for example, a vacuum cleaner is expected to clean a carpet. It can, then the product is effective. It is a black and white issue. More than one function or task, as for example, electric kettle to boil water and to pour it in other container and cup. So, this is a task completion type of effectiveness, single task and more than one task or function. Now, B, the quality of output. User can perform or complete a task with a product, but resulting output is of variable quality. How good is the performance? How good is the performance? It is expectancy from a product. A, the success or failure type. In a computer, while opening a Word file, either you can open it or it can fail it. Either yes or no, that type of effectiveness. B, that is partial. A machine operator's goal is to produce 100 components. He is able to produce only 80 pieces. The effectiveness of that task may be measured as 80%. Effectiveness of a work condition may be higher if to produce the same amount of components, that is 80% of the productions in a given time span. One operator gets free time in between to drink coffee or short breaks than the other operator. The machine or the task mode is more effectiveness. Means effectiveness of a machine, it depends on the skill of its operator also. Now, the efficiency. Efficiency refers to the amount of effort required to accomplish a goal. The less effort required, the higher the efficiency. To complete a task, how many errors are made? For case A, how many minutes or attempts are made to open a file in a computer, or time spent to think to select a right way to do the task. User has achieved the goal, but due to more time taken and errors and attempts made, the efficiency is less. So, these are the issues of usability. It is the amount of effort, efficiency is the amount of effort is required to accomplish a goal. Deviation from critical path. Without seeing an instruction book, whether a computer can easily be operated, what features we need to keep there, so that with earlier experience or with intuition or with some specific trial and errors, it can be performed. Then the error rate, minor, major, fatal and catastrophic. The error rate, that is time on task. Then mental workload, like while driving a car, operating a stereo or a mobile, attendance is unsafe and the task is also not performed well, that type of mental workload. It may be measures with physiological parameters, means as well as while performing a secondary task, how many mistakes are made. As for example, while driving a car, if counts backward and how many mistakes are made, means at the time of making mistakes, persons was inattentive to the secondary take due to primary attendance to the driving, in which critical moment he is making mistakes. So, these issues are the efficiency of a design or a system. Now, the pleasurability. The pleasurability aspect, that is the based on satisfaction, and that satisfaction is that a qualitative attitude analysis and quantitative attitude analysis. Now, the satisfaction for products whose use is voluntary, subjective, difficult to measure, look, feel and overall layout. These are the satisfaction issues. With all similar features, as for example, it can be said a television set B, if preferred over another television A, though many more features are there in A than B, but not are actually needed by the users, then which one people normally prefer? In that case, with unnecessary features that people do not require or use, then people may not need those. In that case, the television B will be preferred over television A. It refers to the level of comfort that the users feel when using a product and how acceptable the product is to the users as a means of achieving their goals. For a product success, sometimes satisfaction is more important than efficiency and effectiveness, because now the design is not only for work purpose or leisure purpose, we cannot separate like that way. Now, the design is a pleasurable issue. It should perform the work related things as well as comfort that a person requires in leisure time. Now, the system potential and then experience users performance and then unreliability that issues. In this we can say that operative with the system potential is operative with least effort at maximum EUP. Experience users performance EUP will fall short as people the user never learn the optimal method of use. As for example, vehicle can go 120 km/h, but due to many reasons does not cross 80 to 90 km/h speed limit. So, under use of system potential in this case, this cannot be a common buyer selecting criteria, how fast and maximum speed it can attain. If a vehicle comes with very higher speed, but normally we do not require that, so that higher speed limit is not a selling point for that car. Here some other issues are coming. So, the system potential, how much we are using or capable of using, that is the issue. Like computer key, it is fastness between keystroke and the response. For an author or a writer, time taken to think and type, then the computer system potential would not be the fastness in typing, but the layout and connecting or correcting other mistakes, etc. That is the system potential to be used more. Now, cognitive interface issues concern. The determination of the optimal level of machine support, identification of the type of information users need, determination of how this information should be presented, and identification of methodologies to analyze work domains and cognitive activities. Another issue is that human performance approached from an information processing. An ecological or a cognitive engineering point of view, all tasks concerning a certain number of mental processes involved in selecting, interpreting, retaining or responding to information may be implemented, and it is understanding the vulnerabilities of these processes and capitalizing where possible on their strength that can provide an important key to effective human factors of system design. In the ecological approach, actions generally produce feedback, which is then sensed to complete the closed loop cycle. We might not be quite so clear about what functions a high level planning and regulating system would have in human activity, or to pose the question differently, what are the functions of consequences or the consciousness? What are the functions of consciousness that we need to answer? We need to think. What does consciousness do? It is easy to become metaphysical in asking questions about the role of conscious process in human activity, but provided we restrict our considerations to the functions which consciousness might subserve in cognition, we might avoid the worst excesses of sheer speculation. Types of conscious planning and decision making process of mind helps us to put flesh on the notion of the high level process. When faces with a task or a combination of tasks, the decisions people must make and the plans they must employ include the following 7 steps. That is the 7 steps of high level processes. Now, the 7 level processes here things that number 1, understanding exactly what the task or problem is that needs to be carried out or solved. Number 2, selection of lower order specific skills or processes which are relevant to the execution or solution to the task. Number 3, selection of a strategy or organizing the sequence in which the lower order skills, which may be many and various in a given task, are to be employed. Number 4, balancing the amount of time allotted to an aspect of the task against how much the given time restriction will affect the overall quality of performance. Number 5, keeping track of what has already been done, what is currently being done, and what still needs to be done during the course of an activity. And then finally, number 6, when the results from lower order specific processes are available, evaluating them and ultimately combining them into a solution or response. So, there is a hierarchy of levels of control, that is the conditioning, like Pavlovian conditioning, conditioned stimulus and unconditioned stimulus. So, I think we know the Pavlovian conditions that if a performance is done in a specific time or it is associated with a specific function or specific thing, when it reappears in advance, then the need to perform that task it appears. That is the Pavlovian conditions. Now, the universal law of learning, seeing, judging and retaining, automatic stimuli response links we need to consider, influence of, like an example, influence of alcohol etc. on learning, shadowing, hallucinations etc. means when we are learning the things. Memory decay is the main cause of forgetting. Normally, it is said that why people forget things when age grows, The physiological reason it may be that some gray cells are dying and so something is missing, some information is missing. Another that is that memory decay. Then the attitude to learn the things, the harmony, homogeneousness and heterogeneousness, those things. So, something is presented homogeneously, we may feel it in one way. If there is any problem or deflection, then it draws our attention. If it is heterogeneous, all are different, then how to make equality with them? And finally, the family resemblance. This family resemblance, it gives a specific input. So, these are the hierarchy of levels of controls. Just for one example, we can say here, a person here is sitting on an indefinite protest fast, but before that a person is selling some good food. So, the smell and etcetera is disturbs him probably. So, it is said that cannot you find some other place to sell your delicious preparations, my dear man? Means the context, the need and the presentation, it should have some link for a certain purpose. If this thing is achieved in a design, it will be successful. Now, the person perception, here the 6 processes are there. 6 processes mean the attention, that is physical appearance. Second is a snap judgment, is a direct inference from an individual's appearance and or behavior which involves little or no cognitive efforts. Number 3, the attribution, like assigning some qualities or character to a person or thing. In contrast to snap judgments, it is more reflective inferences which involve a greater investment of cognitive effort. What are the external factors? As for example, another's provocation or internal factors relevant with this. It appears with the question why it is different. The trait implication, that is the specific features, impression formation and prediction of future behavior or to attain next level. So, with this, whatever we discussed till now, these are the some issues and concerns of cognitive issues aspects that if we apply in a design, it will be successful. So, we have to understand these things. So, when we are making a design for a certain group, what are their cognitive level, whether my design will succeed there or the need and my design, whatever I am trying to put as messages in that design features, whether those people can recognize and can act upon that, all these things are necessary to understand and practice. So, these things, now with this, our role is to use the above human information, how best to use in design activity. So, with this we are concluding today's session. Today's session we are concluding and the module number 5, the behavior and perception. Now some direct design application issues we will discuss in next sessions. So, in the next day, coming day, the next module is module number 6, that is visual issues in ergonomic design practice. within the 2 classes will cover these aspects. So, till then, thank you very much. So, we will meet next time. Thank you.